And welcome back to Praggers Gaming. I'm Gamer Praggers, and this is quite possibly the final episode, if not the penultimate episode, of our Citizen Sleeper series. We are helping Ash and Peak try and get some supplies across to the flotilla waiting at the blockade. However, in the last episode, we were approached by a member of the Havenage Council wanting us to stop this plan from going ahead so that they can work on actually allowing us legally to get some supplies across to the flotilla. On the most recent cycle, we woke up and Peak has asked us to come up to the climbing briar to speak. Something has happened, we don't know what, so we're about to find out. As you walk into the climbing briar's cavernous bay, now filled with crates and containers, Esh is waiting for you. In front of her, sliced open with its inside scattered across the top of a heavy-duty crate, is an object you recognise. Helene's drone. You freeze. Come in quick. Peak nudges you into the bay, looking behind you before sealing the entryway. We have to start being careful. You move closer to the container, your eyes on the drone splayed out in pieces, some parts of it hooked up to a slate that Peak picks up and begins tapping away at. Esh looks up from the dissection. We got it buzzing around nearby, heading for the ship. She leans over and taps the HA sigil on one of the removed pieces of plating. It's a Havenage spy. We think we got it before it sent data back, but we can't be sure. Peak looks at you nervously. Esh cuts in. Have you noticed anyone watching? Any drones like this? Anyone following you up to the briar? I've seen this drone. Esh frowns. Following you? I met its owner. Esh pauses for a while, Peak looking between the two of you. Explain, Sleeper. Esh stays quiet. You explain that you met with Helene at the cordon, and you tell Esh and Peak about what she told you, that the Havenage Council are debating lifting the quarantine, but they are blocked by the hardliners. You speak faster and faster, but before you can finish, Esh walks away in anger, then comes back again, her eyes burning. What is this, Sleeper? Have you understood nothing from what we've told you? She paces in front of you. Havenage are not your friends. They are administrators, which means they are interested only in their own power, their own survival, their own causes. They divide people as easily as sorting livestock. The greater good of their work demands it. The wider project of the station, the colony, the nation. Her eyes are wide as she speaks, her anger barely contained. She wants to help. Esh laughs. Help what, Sleeper? Undo the mess of her own creation? She only wishes to placate you, so you'll compromise. So you'll do what is acceptable, not what is right. She is trying. Let me tell you something, Sleeper, Esh says, her rage hardening into pain. When people become administrators, they give up something. Some part of being human, being an equal among others, goes away. They start talking about the greater good, the systems, the ways in which their hands are tied, or their process compromised. My mother was the administrator of Hawthorne, and I have seen what it did to her. That noble, higher calling, it is toxic. People should never have the chance to decide the fates of others, and those that do so at a cost to their humanity. Peak tries to cut in, but Esh holds up her hand. Don't start, Peak. Don't ask me to be reasonable or calm down. Thousands of people are desperate out there. Being reasonable will only prolong their suffering. Helene can help. Esh turns away. I'm done with this. You are risking this entire supply run just by being here. She walks back into the bay and starts checking the straps on the crates. I go next cycle. We don't need you anymore. Get out. Sleeper. Peak looks torn. You have to understand. This is personal for Esh. Helene warned me. Peak tenses. Warned you what? Sleeper. Getting caught will be bad. You don't think we know that? Peak looks tired. You glance around the bay of briar, the wall seemingly closer every second. This whole thing is closing in on you, and the question is, where do you want to be when it all collapses? You look at Peak. And what do you think, Peak? Sleeper? Peak rubs their forehead. Should we do this thing or not? I don't know. Peak nods. Me neither. They look at Esh. But you see her? She knows, and she saved my life. So I'm going to say we do it. They squeeze your shoulder. Onward. They slip away to help Ash, leaving you alone to replay the conversation in your head, a certain kind of grim determination settling in the room. Last chance to prepare. See, I can't complete any of these. We literally have one cycle left. Okay. If we put all of those in, we can get one upgrade. Peak is waiting for you when you slip out of the operations centre, nervously poking at their small slate. Sleeper, they hiss. I followed what you were doing on the network. Incredible work. How do you do that? It comes naturally. Peak smiles. I can't tell if that's modesty or just the truth. Interfacing skills like that, it's almost worth being... They stop themselves. Sorry, I didn't mean... Don't worry about it. Peak nods. Sorry. You and Peak quietly slip into the main walkway and work your way back to the public areas of the cordon. Havenage has had to quickly respond to the flotilla's arrival. That means a lot of contractors and spacers walking through these corridors. You blend in easily enough. I haven't really met a sleeper before, Peak begins. As you might have guessed. They smile nervously. Hawthorne is an XPR service outpost, and since the collapse, no one came for refueling or repairs anymore, so my generation has never met anyone outside the company. We heard about sleepers, they nod in your direction, from the data packets that come through from XPR every once in a while. They usually contain news along with the corporate propaganda, but the reports were light on the details. S and ARP have kept the sleeper program pretty quiet anyway. I think XPR are only interested in telling their employees about it because it made living in our own company town look like a good life, in comparison to being a piece of corporate property. They freeze. Sorry again, I don't mean... They look down. I'm just not sure how to talk about this stuff. It's okay, Peak smiles. I'll shut up about it now. You walk on a little further, the walkway becoming busier. You both relax a little more and go with the flow of people. I just want to say, I think I understand. They begin again. Clearly this has been on their mind. I understand the need to escape, to get free of it all. They laugh at themselves. The structures, the systems, the company horizons in a company town. They stare ahead. The small places, small corridors, small people. They look away. The slow death it brings. That's it, they turn to you. I get why you signed up to be a sleeper, why you escaped from that too. You try to form words, but you can't. There's altogether too much running through your head, but you look at Peak, and they look at you, and that seems okay for now. You walk in silence again, each of you in their own thoughts, but moving together through space nonetheless. After a while, you come to the entrance to the cordon, where handfuls of workers and crews filter in and out through two huge loading bay doors. Peak stops. Okay, they pause. I'm heading back to the Briar. Once again, incredible work on the sensors. That blind spot you created, that should give us a real advantage. See you soon. They head off, disappearing into the crowd almost immediately, outrunning their own nervousness. Okay. So that one's done. So we can put that one in, but it's not enough, and we've only got the one cycle left. Okay. And we're now down to 4 dice. I mean, they're good dice. She's gone, Sleeper. Peak is breathless and shaking. She started the run without us. Shit. Let's go. If we head to the cordon now, Peak starts back up the corridor. They turn back. She has to make it, Sleeper. She has to. A shiver runs down your spine. Ash, I hope you know what you're doing. Sleeper, long time. Moritz is smiling at you when you leave, clearly happy to see you again. Moritz, good to see you. Same. He rubs his hands on his jacket. How have you been? Working hard. I bet, he grins. Well, you're always welcome to hang out the bay if you want, he glances around. Actually, that's what I'm here about. I know Bliss said she didn't want to take any more big jobs, but she's changed her mind, or something, he grins. Because now we have someone looking for a refit of their ship in our bay. You would not believe it. They want their entire ship disarmed, cutting out defense arrays, weapons lockers, ship-to-ship countermeasures, the whole lot. He leans in. We'll be able to start an arms dealership with all the hardware we'll have up there when we're done. He laughs. Anyway, it's a massive job and we need some hands. Bliss said to go get you. So come on up. Bliss is waiting on you to accept the job. He pauses. It'll be good to have you up there again. He grins. Like old times. Okay, but we have other problems to deal with. You arrive, frantic and anxious, at the cordon. Peak is nowhere to be seen. Then you hear footsteps hammering on the metal stairway. Helene's drone led you through before, the one that leads up to the observation deck. You leap up the stairs 2 at a time and make it to the top, momentarily blinded by the light pouring into the observation deck. Sleeper, Peak emerges from the light. I know she's trying to protect me, but it's okay. She chose. But what about my choice, Sleeper? I'm not a child anymore. I can fight for myself. They turn away. Excuse me. There she is. Peak rushes to the wide window, leaning forward to catch a glimpse of the climbing briar's blue XPR livery against the black of the void. You spot the climbing briar, a glint of blue and white, tiny and alone, arcing down towards the red lights of the cordon. She's exposed, Peak says nervously. They will see her coming if they look. You watch the cordon and the buzzing tugs for any sign of movement, any response. The briar crawls silently across your view. Come on, Ash, Peak hisses. Then you see it, a sudden flicker of yellow. Peak sees it too. Those 2 tugs are heading to cut her off. They grip the rail. Go, Ash! As if responding to Peak's urging, the briar speeds up, diving for the cordon edge now, like a hawk descending. You tense up. Peak grips the rail as the briar races towards the edge of the cordon, that invisible net of sensors splayed between ships and drones. Now let's hope the blind spot triggered. You think back to the mess of systems you had to wade through to set it up, the delicate contingencies you set up to trigger the sensor, black out at just the right moment. The briar slides through the cordon as if it was nothing, rapidly slipping into the mess of ships in the flotilla. You look back at the pursuing tugs and see them slow, confused by the cordon's acceptance of the briar and struggling to track their target. Ash is in. Both you and Peak let out the breath you've holding and laugh. How did she do it? Peak smiles, shaking their head. We did it. Peak smiles wider. Yes, we did, they laugh. You feel a little shaky from the tension, but Peak's ease helps you settle. You imagine Ash steely-eyed in the pilot seat of the briar, searching for a place to dock. Maybe being stubborn has its advantages. You okay? Me? Peak sighs. I think that took years off my life, but I've got to hand it to Ash. She was right. You and Peak turn back to the window, looking for the briar again amongst all the hulls, the calm fading as new worries settle in. You spot the briar first this time, docking with the largest of the flotilla ships, a vast converted tanker, half of its protective plates removed. You think about the effort it must have taken to get that thing all the way here from the inner system. You watch the Briar, unable to get any sense of progress from its placid exterior. "They will be offloading everything now," Peak says, both assuring you and themselves that everything is going to plan. You think of all the supplies loaded into the Briar and how long the process of unloading them might take. The bay was packed, rammed with everything you could offer, and the thought of bringing all that to the flotilla makes you smile. You think of the reaction of the refugees, of the welcome they'll give Esh as the bearer of such gifts. You even imagine a smile from Esh as she is showered with thanks. You focus on that as you watch the Briar and continue the nervous wait for it to finish unloading. "It's breaking off." Peak points to the Briar, and you see the puff of air and dust that accompanies an emergency depressurization. Esh must have ended things early, but why? And then you see them, the tugs closing in on the Briar. Havenage must have spotted the ship. You and Peak are up against the window, again willing the Briar a safe path out of the flotilla. The Briar drifts through the flotilla, but it is agonizingly slow. "Come on, Esh," Peak shouts in desperation, pressing a palm against the glass. You squint at the gathering yellow glints of the tugs. They're too fast. You both watch in dismay as the tugs swarm the Briar, their shunts locking onto the hull of the ship and holding it in place. The Briar is stuck. It drives unable to escape the tug's grip, especially in the close quarters of the flotilla. Peak is silent, and you watch as the Briar is dragged away towards the facility at the edge of the rim, a hole opening up in the pit of your stomach. You look at Peak and they don't respond. They don't take their eyes off the Briar. Even after it disappears, they stand there at the glass, their eyes fixed on the flotilla. "She didn't even get the supplies through." Peak doesn't look at you. "This was all for nothing." "We can get her back." "This was stupid, Sleeper." Peak looks back at you, their eyes wet. "A stupid plan. We had a ship, and our freedom. Now what do we have?" Peak slams a hand on the glass in frustration, making you jump. "I won't be trapped again. I won't." They turn and rush out to the observation deck before you can say anything, leaving you alone with the cold and the light. Not great. Very not great. When you enter the bay, it is weirdly quiet. Moritz must be out on some errand, or maybe Bliss is preparing the kit. Sleeper. Sleeper? Ankita is drifting at one side of the bay. You missed her completely when you came in. The idea of not seeing Ankita when you entered a room would have seemed unlikely to you several cycles ago, but seeing her without her armour, she seems smaller, less imposing. Ankita. She nods and kicks off from the wall, drifting closer. "So what is this?" she asks. "Come to avenge Ashton or his Sleeper? Or just looking for another payout?" Her anger is familiar, but quieter than before, restrained. "I don't want to fight." "Then why are you here?" She looks away, and you can tell her anger isn't directed at you in particular. It radiates off her like fire. "You better be ready to sign," comes a shout from the bay entrance, "because I got my best repair tech coming up here, especially, and they're going to..." Bliss glides in and suddenly stops herself when she sees you and Ankita standing up. "Oh, Sleeper, you're already here. Miss Cassetta, this is the tech I was telling you about. Best one on the She stops, looking between the two of you. "Wait, do you two know each other?" You and Ankita look at each other. "We work together." Bliss squints at you both before continuing. Bliss produces a slate. "Now, Miss Cassetta, if you'd like to sign our damage waiver, here we can start on the decommissioning." She looks at you. "My tech here is eager to get started, as am I." Ankita scrawls her signature across the slate. "Thank you." Bliss pauses. "And everything is okay with the special payment terms we discussed?" She gives Ankita a strange smile. "All fine." says Ankita, giving you another hard look. Then she kicks off and drifts to the entrance. I'll be in the gimbal, she says, and leaves. Special payment terms? She looks over her glasses at you. Look, Sleeper, there's something I have to tell you. She glances around again. What is she so nervous about? This isn't exactly a typical job. Miss Cassetta, Ankita, she gives you a knowing look. Doesn't have the chits to pay us, so we've made a special arrangement, she sighed. I'm leaving. Leaving? Keep it down. I haven't told Moritz yet. She looks down. Just waiting to break it to him. Don't you tell him either. She stares hard at you. I'll tell him when I'm ready, and I don't want him getting worried about Ankita's history. He can be very protective. I've noticed. Look, all I care is that she is heading for the starboard belt. She looks out of the bay. That's where I'm headed. She turns back to face you. Also, I wanted to ask if you'd like to come with us. I would. She interrupts before you answer. I know, things have been hard for you on the Eye, and you helped me so much. I asked Ankita if she'd carry 2 of us, and she said yes. Moritz will take over the bay anyway, although if you stay, you are welcome to help him run it. I just thought, she sighs, you might be in need of a fresh start as much as I am. She turns away nervously. Think about it. Anyway, the berth is there. We gotta finish the job first anyway. And with that, she kicks away and heads to the racks. Before you can offer an answer, moments later, Moritz enters with a new cutting torch for the disarming of the ambergris. The starboard belt. You push your thoughts to the back of your mind. Time to get to work. Okay. Okay. Ooh. We've got some scrap. We'll buy a spacer meal. Okay. And it's been a while. We'll feed the stray. We'll end the cycle. Okay. Let's see if this gives us any energy back. It gave us some. Okay, so we need to wait another cycle. Okay. Mainly because I don't want to finish Blisses yet. Right, I'm going to put in a stabilizer. And we're going to end the cycle. Okay. That's not great. Get some energy. I'm sorry, Sleeper. Elaine comes towards you along the walkway. But your friend must have known there was a chance this would happen. She seems unsure of how to greet you and looks nervously around. She's being held along with her ship. Release her? How many times do I have to tell you? I don't control Havenage. Elaine pinches the bridge of her nose. Cordon Security has her for now, and she and her ship will be held in the quarantine until it's lifted. As for all the quarantine, she glances at her slate, we are working on it, but the council is unlikely to budge now. Not after this. She runs a hand through her hair. This is the last thing I needed. Helene admits you're right. She was carrying weapons. Do you know that? She stares at you. We found a crate of firearms on her ship. I didn't know. Helene eyes you. Well, it doesn't matter now. They are safely in Havenage hands. Any more good news? Nothing good. Helene looks away. As you know, Cordon Security intercepted your friend before she could get supplies through. Since then, the refugees have cut off all communication. I'm worried, Sleeper, about what is happening in there, but after recent events, Cordon Security are keeping the place locked down, tighter than ever. No one can get in. Meanwhile, the hardline councillors are preaching in the chamber as we speak. It's a deadlock, and I don't know when it will loosen its grip. Helene walks a little away and turns back. I wish I had better news, Sleeper, but we knew this was coming. And the refugees suffer. Helene turns away. Enough, Sleeper. My hands are tied. We still don't know why the flotilla came here, why they abandoned settlements and outposts throughout the system to flee to this ruined station. What little we heard from them concerned computer and life support systems collapsing in waves, machinery in flux. Helene sucks in a breath. This isn't over. You think of the people on the flotilla. Helene is right. People don't abandon their homes for nothing. What wave is rushing through the system, and when will it reach the eye? Helene interrupts your thoughts. I have to go, the debates will restart soon, and I should be there. She waits for a moment, and it is unclear if she is trying to think of something to say or just waiting for you to speak. But the silence keeps you both quiet, and she walks off down the corridor. A nod, the only farewell she offers. You hope that speaking to her might ease the knot of worry in your chest, but it remains there, reminding you of Esh, of the refugees, and of the wait ahead. What is done, no matter how many times you turn it over in your head. You get the feeling you will be needed soon, and for that, you must save your strength. What was it Feng told you, Erlin said? The eye opens for us all? Not this time. For now, the eye remains closed to those that need it. A shudder runs through you. Something is coming. You can feel it. This isn't over. How many cycles? 3. Episode Flux. The first part of the flotilla story is complete. Episode Refuge begins when the cycle clock below is filled. Okay. Okay. I think we're going to finish this episode here. It seems like a good place to finish it. We'll replant these. We don't have those. I think what we'll do is we will aim to keep Blitz as our way out, and that will be our ending unless something happens with It doesn't feel like these have been moving. But, excuse me, right. We are going to feed the stray, as we should. We're not going to self-repair, because there's no point, but we will end the cycle. And there we go. That is all we've got time for, unfortunately. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, ticking the bell so you know when new videos go live. We've got 2 cycles to go before we can carry on with that. So we need to find some stuff to do. But we can get some scrap. We can get lots of scrap. I say lots, we can get 2. That's 4 cycles. We can cook some, but that'll just give us. But that is all we've got. Yes, as I was saying, that's all we've got time for. Thank you for hanging out. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. If you have not already, please consider subscribing to the channel, ticking the bell so you know when new videos go live. I do try and get videos out every single day. In the description is a link to the channel Discord. Feel free to come and talk about the games you're playing, the games I'm playing, games in general. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.